Hey, today we're going to go over how to automate your backups. On my new computer, I had a 6 terabyte drive. I'll never fill it up. Well, after creating a whole bunch of YouTube videos and everything else, I end up using about 3 terabytes just in my video directory. I've got, like 2,500 videos out now, altogether between the long forms and short forms, and it filled up. And I had bought another 6 terabyte drive I'm going to use as a backup. And I'd started a backup program using the task manager. And I was thinking it was running, it wasn't running. And it only backed up the first time when I made the first initial copy. Well, I had created a podcast about 2.5 hours long. I'd uploaded to Opus Clips and created all those clips and proceeded somehow to overwrite the file. So I lost it. I said, well, let's go to the backup. It hadn't run in months. So I went through and got it going and made sure it was actually backing up. And now I have a batch file that will run through the task scheduler on Windows 11 that will create all that. So on this video, we're going to go over the file I have finally that is working and it backs up files, it logs stuff and takes care of everything. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So let me move my bar out of the way here. So now we can look at, we're going to go through here. I have a little header at the top to kind of describe. I like to document all my programs. Pretty much, I need a comment pretty much for most every line. So I call my backup file, this batch file, I'm using Notepad++. If you don't have that, it's free to download. Nice thing about it is, see, these comments are in green and everything's all color coded. If you just use the word text file, everything's all in blackness and just makes it a lot easier. Now, when you create this, so the first thing you want to do is go up here into encoding. And it needs to be ANSI. Lots of times they'll start at UTF-8, just hit convert to ANSI, and then it will create it in ANSI format, and that's what you want to use. So now we've got the file created correctly. You can use a batch file if you want just a regular editor. You got to make sure you remember to call it as a .bat file, which is a batch file which executes similar to a .exe file. Back in the old DOS days, we understood what exe files were. Those are an executable file, and the .bat files are a batch file, and you could create commands and do whatever you want to use. And we actually kind of use that to get a password on it, because first thing on Lotus, it'd run the .batch file would run up, and we'd bring up a program that would lock the keyboard to enter your password. You could bypass it if you got the timing right, but generally you didn't do that. So here's the name I called it. I called it backup underscore D underscore TO to E. So backup D drive to E drive. And then the purpose of it is to back up D drive to the D drive, and it's going to log results, and it's going to delete the old log files as we go along. We don't want to keep building them forever because you're going to get one a day. So down in here in the pass, we're going to set the source. If you set source equals and then D, so that's going to give us the D drive, and destination is going to be on our E drive. Now you can use this anything. You can back up from your C drive to one directory to a C drive to another directory to whatever drive is connected to your computer, whether it be a laptop or a desktop. I have a desktop. Uh, they're a little bit easier. I don't ever use the laptop part of it normally, so everything works better here. So the source is going to be the D drive, the destination is going to be E drive, but on a backup directory. Instead of putting it all at the root, I want to put it at a backup directory. So when you get to E drive, all you're going to see is a backup directory, and underneath there is going to be all the directories that's on your D drive. I have 3 drives out here now. I have the D drive, which is the one I work off all the time, and then the E drive, which is my backup, and then I have another 6 terabyte drive, which is the F drive, which I moved everything off of D because it was full. Everything I didn't need to have quite backed up in it because I wasn't really changing stuff, backup of pictures and other things out there I put out there on that drive. So that one I don't need to back it up because it's just out there. So then the first thing is we're going to create a log directory. So if it doesn't exist, now we've created the log directory here. This log dir is this here, and you're going to put this percent sign in front and behind it. That tells it it's a tag and not existing. So if the log directory doesn't exist, we're going to make that directory. And I already have it there, so I probably could show, but I probably won't show that. Now, the first thing we do is we're going to get the date, and I want to have it's going to be the backup underscore year, month, day. And that's how I want it formatted. So I've got descriptions in here of what each of the commands, the WMIC, OS, get local date and time, that will get it in this format right here, which is 2025 as the time this was created here, and in 1025 at 11:26 and 30 seconds. So that would represent, here's our date and time right down here. And now here is the command that we're going to do that. We're going to go through all this here. It's going to get a tag there of T, and all this here command here takes all this into account, and it comes up with a log date. Here's the date and the time, the year, the month, and the day. And in the starting time, it's going to pull this information out. These last ones here at 11:26:30, and then the log file is here, and then we're going to set the log file is equal to this plus backup and our date.txt. So those files will look like this right here. We're going to back up the year, the month, the day, and all that's going to run. These are previous runs. I had a lot more of them, and you'll see later that I run a program that deletes them off. So then we're going to go through here. Now we've created our backup file with our date on it so we can see each day. Now we're going to create a header file in the log file. So the first thing to do is, if you use these brackets here, you can put a whole bunch of echo commands, just writes it either to the screen or to a log file. And if you do a bunch of these inside of these, you can send all at one time. Otherwise, you'd have to have, at the end of every one of these lines, you'd have to put a greater than this at the end of every line. This makes it a little simpler, easier. And that will look like when we get into there. Let me bring this file, bring it over here. And this is the last run I run. Now, I hadn't made any changes, so it's going to give us daily backup. Here's the date and time, and it's going to give us our source and our destination. And then we have running, Robocop running, backup summary. Here's the start, end time, the exit code, as well as no files changed, all up to date. And then it's going to list this, the files copied, which is the new files and new directories, and then it's going to give us a summary. This is what it's going to look like running complete when we're done. So let's explain how that works. So now we've wrote this into all this into our log file. Now then on Robocopy, this is a Windows 11 command that you have access to if you have Windows 11. And here's all the switches you can turn on and what they mean. So now what I want to do is I'm going to look and see if there's an old robocopy.txt file, which we created up here. This is the output from Robocopy, all the commands. It puts the file name, it puts the progress you're going on, so you get a lot of 1%, 2%, 3%, it lists everything in there, a whole bunch of stuff that you don't care about. You just want to know the summary. So I'm only going to create one. Each night I'll back it back up. So we'll delete it. We're going to delete it out of the file. So we're going to, if it exists, we're going to delete it. So we just have one copy. And then we're going to put out the echo running Robocopy, which is what we had in thinking here. Yeah, there we go. So it will output Robocop running. So we're at that stage right now. And let's scroll this over here. Now, that's where we're at, and that's so far. Let me go ahead and minimize this down so that we can actually see both of them at the same time. All right, now we're at this point right here. Robocopy is running, And now then we're going to actually execute the command, and it's going to load it to this RC file, which is the robocopy.txt that we created up here, this file here. And that's going to all about end up in our backup directory, which is wherever we specified up on top. Now, once we run this, now that creates that text file. Now then we're going to get the end time. Now this command is done. That's all done. We're going to get a time again. So we're going to use that same command we used up above, but we're just going to extract out the date and time. So now then, here's where we want to do is exit code. Now, if you look over here, this is our start time. We just wrote our end time. See this set there. And now we're going to write our end time here pretty soon, down here a little bit. But now we've got our backup summary. Here's an exit code. When Robocopy runs, it exits with a code. Now, this time when this one run, it run with a code of 16, which means no files changed, which I've run this multiple times and nothing was changing. So here's where we can go through and figure out all the codes. 0, what 0 means, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If it's 8 or above, it's normally an error code, but error code 16 says no files changed. So if it's 16, it'll overwrite it. Anything else, it's going to be a critical error that something else went wrong. Now here's where we're printing our summary. Now we've got our summary header, which is, here's we're going to run our backup summary, which is this part right here. We're going to print our start time, our end time, our exit code, and our explanation of our exit code. And now then, this one here is going to find and log the newly copied files. So this is this section right here. This copies out to here. And then new files. So we're going to echo out this here. It says new files. And then this is going to echo all the files that it finds that meets new file. And when Robocopy runs, it creates a file that says new file, new directory, a couple of things. There's errors and stuff like that in there. Then we're going to do the same thing for new directories. We're going to look for the comment of new directory, and then we're going to echo those out. Now, because nothing changed on this one, there was nothing there. Now, we're going to go through, I want to count the number of them, because if there's a bunch of them listed there, I don't want to count them. Let's let automation do it for me. So we're going to set our new files and new directories to 0. We're going to go through and we're going to count all those that say new file. So we do actually run through our program again. And then those new directory, and it's going to count those, and it's going to give us a total. And now then that builds all these variables. And now here's our summary. So here's our summary down here at the end. It's going to give us total new files, new directories, and total items, new items. So that's going to count the files as well as directories. So that's the number of items that it created. Backup complete. And now then we want to make sure that backup directory is visible. Because one of the things when Robocopy runs, it creates it as a hidden file. So you go to your E drive or wherever you're at, you created it, and you don't see it. It's there. So you have to bring up a command prompt, run under admin, and change the attributes so that you can actually see it. But we're going to let the program do it. So we're going to clear the commands here. We're going to send it not hidden, not a system, and not read-only file. And we're going to do all the system and all the subdirectories. So that's going to do the whole backup directory to make sure everything is visible. Now then, next thing it's going to do is going to come down here and we're going to delete the old log files. Now we had a days to keep, which at the top, back at the top, days to keep is 10. So I want to keep 10 days. You can change it any number. You can change it to 30 days. You can change it to 17 days. You can change it to 60 days. If you want to keep a whole year's worth, you can change 365. If you want to keep 2 days, you can change it to 2. Whatever number you put in here, it's going to keep track of those days. And let's go back down here. And now then it's 4 files. in the long directory. It's going to search for everything.txt and it's going to find days to keep. So that's be minus 10 days. It's going to go deleting the file and it's going to say delete file. It will list out all the files it deleted. Just to give an example of what Robocopy puts out, here's some of the stuff that's extra directory and it lists all this here. It's This is kind of some of the stuff that shows up in that uh, the regular Robocopy output, all this kind of stuff, and trying to search through all this information just to find the new files. You can see this is a huge file. We don't want to see all that because that really doesn't matter because it didn't do anything with this. This is all just stuff it looked at. Um, so we don't care what it looked at. We just care about what it is actually going to do. So that's why I have it set up this way. I've gone through a lot of different iterations to finally come up with this one. I've spent probably a week doing different options and trying to figure out what's going on and make it the cleanest and easiest to understand. When you execute this batch job, it's going to take the source where you want it to come from. Now you can go in and you can change this to a specific directory. Like if you want to copy one directory to another directory, you could easily change this to copy from your C drive, um, your user directory, whatever you want to a different directory on the same drive. It doesn't matter where it goes to. You just want to make sure that where you're backing it up isn't creating, more problems. So that's why I have it going to a different drive. And like I said, I've got three 6 terabyte drives. I didn't realize I was going to need that much when I start creating videos. Yeah, they do add up pretty quick when you start creating a bunch of videos because they get pretty long and I have the full form, the raw unedited video, plus the stripped down video, plus all the thumbnails and then when I send them to Opus Clips and I get all the clips and I download those. So I have, quite a few files out there that are just associated with one video. We can get into other kind of editing stuff there. But that is the batch file. Now, if you try and run it from a command prompt, it does not like something in this Robocopy form. When you run this command, it errors out if you run it straight from a command.com, from a command prompt. But when you run it through the task scheduler, that works just fine. You go into search and type in task scheduler. You'll see this pop up. Click on that. That brings this up. And now what you want to do is you want to create a new task and go through there. Now you want to run it whether you're logged in or not, run with highest privileges. You always want to select those. And you want to select system. You want to run a system, so you may have to enter in a system password and then triggers. You're going to add a new trigger. Going to run it daily. And let's just pick the same time I have here. I set it to run. Um, whoop, no, don't change that one. Triggers run on, like today. I actually want it to run tomorrow because you don't want to run it same day. And now, what time do you want it to run? Do you want it to run AM? I normally run, and I have mine set up to like 1 o'clock. So run right at 1 o'clock because normally I'm in bed by then anyway. So if I'm not, then it runs. So what? Now you want to make sure that you've got this going here. Now actions. We're going to add a new action. And what we want to do is we want to browse to the directory, put our backup scripts. And I called this under my directory on here, backup scripts and backup logs. Now the backup logs is where I put all those log files. And then backup scripts, just to keep them separate. This is the file that we've just created. And now then on here, we want to do a couple other things. Put quotes around this and type cmd.exe space /c space. Now, that's going to run it under a command prompt, which those of you that don't not sure what a command prompt is, that is this little thing here. You want to run it as administrator if you're making changes to your system. And then if you don't know how to use a batch file, there's basic commands. Like if you want to do a directory, it's dir. You want to know what the commands are, a /, and it will give you all the commands for it. CD is change directory. Now, if I want to go to my E drive, I want to go to the main root, I can do that. If I want to go to the backup, oh, I didn't find that one. Let's just go to E drive first, do a directory, and our backup directory is there. You can always do CD backup. I typed backups last time and didn't work very well. So now then I can see all these directories out here. Now, if I go to my D drive, I'm going to see all these same directories out there. So if I go to, let me just bring up another command prompt. And on that one, we're going to go to D. Not going to run this in as administrator. And now, because they don't need to, we're going to look and see we have a apartment underwriting, business trips, look banks, documents, install, media, medicine job, new Archer's checklist, retired in style, zoom in there. So now our D drive matches our E drive, all the drives. Now, if I create one on here, it's going to automatically, when it backs up, I'm going to create it on there. So let's go ahead and you can get out of these just by closing. You can type exit, or you can just close it. Honestly, you can just click over here, yes, and just close it. So now we've created this. So we're going to say, okay, um, it it gives us information here. So now what you want to see is you want to see command space /C in quotes this here. Now that is going to do that. Now condition. Now you can click start only if idle. Start task if computers on AC power. Stop if on battery power. This one is on a, well, not on a battery backup yet, but if we lose power, it loses everything. So let's go back here again. Let's go to settings. Allow tasks to run on demand. That means you can start it automatically. Stop if it runs longer than 3 days. You can check that one or uncheck it, but you don't want to run forever. If running task does not end when requested, force it to stop, which you can do that here. I'll show you a little bit different. Do not start a new instance. So once again, recap, run with highest privileges, run as as a system. Triggers, we're going to trigger one time, but I said daily. Oh, click daily. Make sure you click daily. Oh, it's going to run one time and quit. So daily at 1. Actions, we're going to start this program. And here's our conditions. And then click OK. Oh, I didn't give it a task name. So say nightly backup. And then in description, you can say whatever you want here. Or just going to, if I can type, just so whatever you want, so you give a description, doesn't matter. Okay, now we have this one here, and now all I could do is right click and click run. Now, in my directory, before we do that, I am going to actually delete today's backup off of my backup logs. So let's bring this over. You can see I don't have anything for today. We don't need this one. You can delete that one as well. And I only have 10 days worth. So we are going to make a change in this. We're going to go at the top, how many days to keep? Let's just change this to 5 days. And now it's only going to keep 5 days. You'll see when it runs, It's there. So make sure you save that before you run it. And now, as we come over to here, I mean, multiple screens is nice. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to run this and see there it created a file with today's date. So let's open that up and we can see it created at 10:25, which is today's date. It's 14:54, which is 2:54, which is the time it is right now. D, back up to E, Robocopy started. Here's it started and stopped. And error code is 6, no files changed because I haven't changed any files yet. And it's on there. Now, just to make sure, it did create that file, as we've seen in here. It did create that log file for us. We now have backup for today. And I opened this file up. And what we have is we have our daily backup. I run it at 254, which we just run it. And then we're running it. Here's our summary. Error code 16, which is no files changed, and then no files copied. And remember, we changed it from 10 days to keep to 5 days to keep. And it told us it deleted these log files. So that's what it run. We don't have any files backed up because I'm creating them now. That's what it looks like when you run it, and it does delete your backup logs. And now let's go into E drive, and the backup directory is there. And here's all those files that I had backed up. So that is how you can automate your backup. Make sure you run it and test it so you don't lose a file that you really want, like I did. But I'm going to go ahead and end this one. And this is only my temporary one. I'm going to disable this one so it doesn't run because I have my other one here that I've been running. I created it on the system one a little bit differently than this one, but that's what I end up calling my batch name. Uh, I created it through command prompt as a system administrator on creating a tasks that way. And rather than in here, I don't know, I just the way I did it. I was actually using Chat GPT for a lot of stuff to figure out how to do some of this stuff. And one problems with it is it keeps forgetting what it told you to do and tells you to do something different each time. And then it suggests doing stuff. And then, so I just went back to basic one, got the basic one working. And eventually I may just have this, I may have it send me an email, but I get some emails. I may not do that, but I can check this out and that's what we're going to do now. I'll go ahead and upload this video. And that is basically what you're going to do. Let me go ahead and stop the sharing and move my screen back over here so I can actually look at my picture here. So that's how you're going to automate your file backups on Windows 11. And we use the built-in Windows 11 Robocopy command in a batch file, and use our task scheduler to automate the stuff, automate it so it runs every night. That way you don't lose any files. You can back it up to a network drive. You can back it up to a local drive. You could back it up anywhere. Um, if you wanted to have it automatically send out an email, you can have it send emails. So you could have an email go out. You could have a task set up to send yourself an email every day at a certain time of what you need to do that day. And so this is kind of opens up a whole lot of options on what you can do using the Windows 11 task scheduler as well as the Robocopy. So let me know if you would like a copy of that batch file. I can give it to you. I'll I'll change a couple things in it where I'm not using my specific stuff. I'll just put in a generic instead of if you want to copy from users and in your name or whatever. Just let me know and I can get you a copy of that. Uh, so just comment, have you tried this? If you haven't tried it, try it and maybe just have it, you don't have to copy a whole bunch of stuff. Just copy one file to another one. And then once you get the basic file working, You can use it to copy anything. That's why I set up the thing is, okay, here's all my files up front where I determine where I'm going to copy from and copy to. So if I want to create a different one, like I want to copy something from my C drive over to, um, my E drive or F drive or USB or something. I'll just put in what I want to change it to and where I want to change it. And you can get in as much as you want, like on the D drive, I had a video directory. Maybe I don't want to copy all the videos. Maybe I don't care about some of those anymore. And I really don't want to move them over to um, a different drive, but I've got them backed up once. I don't need to look at them again. So I can filter this down and it's like, okay, I just want to do my archery podcast. I just want to back those up to a specific place. I can do that. So that's what I figured out. It's taken me a better part of a week to get all this figured out. I kind of put everything else on hold, so I haven't gotten out many videos. Haven't created any new podcasts. You have to check out my podcast when I get those going again, which will be here in a couple days once I get going a little bit more. I'm going to have another video uh, on here. The next video will be actually installing some. I don't know if I can get this to actually. Okay, memory chips. Uh, I have 16 gig of memory, system memory, and it uses anywhere from 12 to 14 of it, gig of it, just starting the applications up. Uh, and it runs slow. So I'm going to put in 64 gig and I'll have another one where I show how to do that. But anyway, that's enough for this recording, and we'll catch you on the next one. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video. The next one, stay tuned. We'll be putting in some memory chips to give us a little bit more performance.